It starts in silence, not because they have nothing to say, but because somewhere along the way, they learned that being seen comes with a cost. Maybe it was a friend who turned vulnerability into gossip, or a parent who mocked their excitement. Maybe it was the world itself that taught them attention is dangerous. So they stopped raising their hand, stopped sharing their wins, stopped posting their joy. This is the unseen psychology of people who don't post on social media, not because they're boring or antisocial, but because they're still protecting something sacred. For some, silence is a shield. They grew up in homes where privacy was survival, where every word could be twisted, where being misunderstood was more common than being heard. So they learned to keep things in, to curate their presence, to stay small, quiet, safe. They scroll, they watch, they witness, but rarely post. Because posting feels like exposure, and exposure feels like risk. They write the caption, then delete it. They take the photo, then second guess it. They wonder, who even cares? Will this come off as bragging? Am I oversharing? This isn't shyness, it's self-protection. It's the residue of a nervous system trained to anticipate judgment. We assume people who don't post have nothing to say, but often they're the ones thinking the most. They're the observers, the feelers, the ones who notice the shift in your tone before you do. They're not absent, they're absorbing. And sometimes they're tired. Tired of the performance, tired of the pressure to be interesting, aesthetic, relevant. Tired of turning their life into content. Because here's the truth. Some people don't post because they're too busy living. They don't need to prove they were there. They were present, fully, and that was enough. But sometimes the silence is grief. They stop posting after the breakup, after the loss, after the world changed and they didn't know how to explain it. They disappeared online because they were disappearing offline too, and no one noticed because we've confused visibility with connection. But just because someone is quiet doesn't mean they're okay. And then one day, maybe they post again. A blurry sunset, a lyric, a quiet photo with no caption. It's not for likes, it's not for validation. It's a whisper. I'm still here. And maybe that's all they needed to say. So if you're someone who doesn't post much, not because you don't care, but because you care too deeply, this is for you. You're not invisible. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just someone who learned to protect your peace. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. You don't owe the world your story. But if you ever choose to share it, know this: your voice is still yours. Your silence is sacred. And your presence, whether posted or not, matters.